For the past 30 years, the story of manufacturing has pretty much been a one-way street. Make it overseas. But right now, something huge is happening. A massive shift is underway, a complete rewriting of the global supply chain. We're talking about the reshoring revolution, and trust me, it's changing everything.
And that really is the million-dollar question, isn't it? For decades, the logic just seemed unbreakable. So what exactly broke? What could possibly be powerful enough to reverse a strategy that defined an entire era of globalization?
We're calling this the Great Reversal, and for good reason. This isn't just some minor course correction. No, this is a fundamental rethinking of where and how we make things. And it's all being driven by new risks, new costs, and some absolutely incredible new technologies. Think about it. That simple formula. Make it overseas, save money. It built empires. It reshaped entire economies. It was the undisputed logic of the modern world. But as we've all seen recently, with all the disruptions, the delays, the insane shipping costs, well, that formula isn't just simple anymore, it's dangerously simplistic. So to really get why this is happening, we have to look past the obvious stuff. We need to go beyond that initial price tag on the spreadsheet and start to uncover the hidden costs that honestly were ignored for way too long. This is the perfect way to frame the whole shift. On the left, you've got the old way of thinking, just laser focused on the lowest purchase price. That's really just the tip of the iceberg. But on the right, you see the new reality. You have to account for the true total cost, all that stuff hiding beneath the surface. It's a huge shift from short-term tactics to a real long-term strategy. And the tool that's driving this new reality is something called total cost of ownership, or TCO. It's basically a really comprehensive way of looking at sourcing that forces companies to account for everything, the costs you can see and the ones you can't, to figure out what a product actually costs them in the end. And this just lays it out perfectly. The old way of thinking checked one box, price, that's it. But TCO, it checks all of them. It factors in things like wildly fluctuating shipping costs, surprise tariffs, the cost of bad quality control, and that massive, hard-to-measure cost of supply chain risk. And here's the kicker. When companies only focus on that sticker price, they can miscalculate their actual offshoring costs by a staggering 20 to 30%. I mean, think about that. For years, massive business decisions were being made with this huge blind spot. And now, finally, everyone's waking up to that fact. But seeing the problem is only half the story. The other half is actually having a solution. I mean, how can domestic manufacturing even compete? Well, the answer isn't in the past. It's inside the factory Reimagine Raytheon. Yeah, this isn't about bringing back the old, inefficient factories from decades ago. Not at all. The key to competing locally is technology. This whole revolution isn't powered by nostalgia. It's powered by data, by robotics, and by intelligent automation that are building the factories of the future today. A really core concept here is something called digital Jidoka. Now, it's a principle that originally came from Toyota, and it means automation with a human touch. But in its modern form, it's all about building intelligence directly into the machines on the production line. And the process itself is it's elegant, it's powerful. A sensor detects a tiny problem, maybe a part is a millimeter off. The line immediately stops itself. Why? To prevent making thousands more bad parts. And at the exact same moment, a supervisor gets an alert telling them exactly what the problem is. There's no waste, no guesswork. So what does this get you? Well, the benefits are just immense. You slash waste from defects. You improve the quality of your product right from the very start. And because you can find and fix problems so quickly, you become incredibly agile. You can change designs and adapt to new demands almost on the fly. And look, this isn't just some theory cooked up somewhere. Major companies are already betting billions on this new model. So let's take a look at some of the pioneers who are really leading this charge. So let's start with the big one, GE Appliances. They're all in on what they call a zero-distance strategy. The goal is simple. Close the gap between where a product is made and where the customer buys it. This isn't some feel-good story. It's a hard-nosed business strategy to cut risk and be way more responsive. And they are putting their money where their mouth is. We're talking about a nearly $500 million investment in just their Kentucky facility alone. That just goes to show you the scale and the seriousness of this commitment to reshoring. Okay, now for a truly stunning example of how automation can empower people, you have to look at SNS Activewear. They brought autonomous mobile robots into their warehouses, and the results? Well, they were almost unbelievable. Get this. The time it took to train a new employee plummeted from 3 whole months down to just 20 minutes. The robots actually guide the workers, making the job intuitive from the second they start. And the impact on how much they could get done? A 400% increase in productivity. That is a 5-fold jump. That's the kind of efficiency leap that makes local operations not just competitive, but totally dominant. But this is the number that surprises everyone. Employee turnover dropped by 75%. It turns out when you automate the really repetitive, physically draining tasks, the jobs become better, they become safer, and a lot more engaging. And this quote from their case study just says it all. Automation wasn't about replacing workers, it was about empowering them. The whole narrative that automation is just about cutting jobs is being rewritten. In these smart factories, it's about elevating people, shifting their roles from manual labor to overseeing the process and solving problems. So, when you put it all together, the strategic shift to total cost of ownership, the incredible technological leap of digital judoka, and the real-world success of companies like GE and S&S, a brand new picture of the future really starts to come into focus. Which, of course, brings us to the final big question. For years, it felt like we had to choose a side. Are you for global supply chains or for local production? But what if that's the wrong question entirely? Because the future of manufacturing isn't a location, it's a philosophy. It's about using data to make smarter decisions and using technology to build smarter, more agile factories wherever they happen to be in the world. The revolution isn't about geography, it's about intelligence.